I know men, period, are big on respect, huge, because there's so much that can challenge a man's manhood. Is so much that can challenge, especially a man of color, being in a world that says, you know what, you're trash, you're not gonna be nothing, you'll never be nothing, and you have that beaten into your head. Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, initial wife, and 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships and outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Now, in this particular video, since I really wanted to connect with you all on something that's really important, especially in the Muslim community, in the poly community at large, just in marriage, just in, that really, I don't know, that place is so delicate and so precious, marriage, period. And we know polygyny is just another form of marriage. Whether people believe it or not, it is. It's a thing. It's happening. It's happened. It's happened in my life. I remember a time where I hit something called a relationship blind spot. And that's what this video is about. It's about those relationship blind spots or not being aware of what's going on in your relationship and not really understanding how you got to a certain place where you feel like you don't know what's going on. I'm like, what are the symptoms of it? What are the symptoms of it? Some of the symptoms of being in a relationship blind spot are some judgments you might be practicing or not practicing self-awareness. And one of the huge issues that I found with myself, and I'm practicing personal development every day, but I remember when I didn't know what that was. One major breakdown area is communication. We don't communicate with each other as married people. We don't know what's going on with each other. We don't ask questions. We're scared to ask the hard questions. We're scared to maybe even ask questions that might be more easy to answer. But because we feel as though the answer might be scary, we don't want to ask that question. And then that might turn into a hard conversation. So some things to avoid is not communicating how you feel or what your experience is and not listening to what someone else's experience is. I learned very recently that my level of respect is very different than that of Coach Nazir's or any man, for that matter. My respect of what I need on my hierarchy of value. What's top notch for me is being able to trust someone and being able to see them practice empathy. I love people that are humorous. I love people that want to have fun. I love spontaneity. I love cracking jokes. I love when someone is vulnerable because I feel as though maybe I can help in some way, or maybe I can be vulnerable in return. But respect might be on my list, on my hierarchy of value might be, and I'm an ENFP, y'all. I tell people that. And shout out to the ENFPs that, it's part of the 16 personality type indicator, the MBTI. So if you haven't taken that test, take it. It might help you a lot understand it as far as understanding who you are and why you do some of the things you do. This is not looking into a crystal ball. You are answering the questions for yourself. You should be. Anywho, I was thinking about, the different areas of what is needed and as far as respect goes. And I said on my hierarchy of value, I have trust. And then on Coach Nazir's, he might have respect first, because I know men, period, are big on respect, huge. Because there's so much that can challenge a man's manhood, is so much that can challenge, especially a man of color, being in a world that says, you know what, you're trash, You're not going to be nothing. You'll never be nothing. And you have that beaten into your head, especially growing up in the United States. It's a thing. It's a thing for women of color that have went through certain prejudices and discrimination and just cruel, demeaning behavior, evil behavior. So I understand why respect is huge for many, many men, especially men of color in this world. And I know how to live my life as a woman of color. I don't know how to do anything else other than that. And I'm happy because I didn't catch L's. I always say I catch lessons. So I'm very careful about what I tell myself. Now, with that, you're careful about what you tell yourself about yourself and your relationship. I say it all the time and I will say it again. It is very vital to the success of your relationship that you tell yourself things about that relationship that are healthy. Now, I know some relationships are toxic, some relationships you can't see through. You tried, you exhausted every effort, and you're just done. And I'm sure there are many, many powerful signs that you can't skip over, skate over, try to erase. One thing I do know, you can't reinvent the wheel, and what has happened, and it's your choice whether it's something that's salvageable and something that's not. You know, maybe everybody decided that this is as far as it goes and that they need to move on. I respect that decision. I understand why those decisions need to be made. I get it. I have plenty of friends that have come from places of divorce, and it's a very delicate situation, and I know why they made the decisions that they made, and I respect those decisions. But if you're in this situation or in a marriage where you know it can work, but there's just some blind spots that you need to kind of get through, knowing what they are is half the battle. And then implementing personal development and the willingness to win as a couple, the willingness to move forward and say, okay, I'm going to work on me, you're going to work on you, and we're going to come together and have a conversation and communicate what our concerns are and come up with solutions. It's one thing to just jaw and talk and complain, but voicing concern and coming up with something that's actionable, something that'll help your relationship, that matters. That matters so much, because then each one of you sees the intention. And if your intentions are pure and if your heart is pure, it'll work. You just got to keep working. You know, it's not a one-stop shop thing. It's not a one-day thing. You have to be consistently consistent about what you want in your marriage, what you want as a couple. My co-wife talks about this all the time, and she's trained on it, about having a marriage mission statement. Those are, woo. If there's any point that I could drive home, that would be one of them. It's very important to create a marriage mission statement. You can check out more of our videos on this platform on YouTube. And she has talked about it. She's trained on it. I love that. I really, really love that, because it's so supportive of healthy marriage. It's so intentional. And then everybody kind of knows what they need to do or where they need to work. And I love that. I really love it. I think it's so wholesome to have. But yeah, identifying the fact that you might be in a relationship blind spot. We know the blind can't lead the blind. My grandma used to say that all the time. She said, you know, the blind can't lead the blind. Somebody has to have vision around here to lead. So if we all have a vision for our relationships, for our marriages, for polygyny, you know, just for any hat that you will wear, you would want a vision for it. That will create this environment of success. And then we don't have a choice but to be successful. Life has its peaks and valleys, its ups and downs. We know that you're not going to be happy all the time with one another. You're not going to be happy with life all the time, but we go in and out. We go in and out. We go in and out. And when life knocks us down, we have to get back up. And like I said, take those L's, take those lessons, and move forward and apply them. You know, I remember a time where I didn't take the lesson, and I would just repeat that same behavior, and I go, I don't understand why this is not working. I don't get that. And then I had to go, Fatimah, it ain't working because you you're not being productive. You're being counterproductive. So yes, we all know that relationship blind spots can happen. It's just finding that common ground to want to work. So if you're not communicating, get in the game. Communicate. And sometimes it's scary, and that's okay. That's okay. But if you tell yourself it's going to be scary, it's going to be scary. If you tell yourself it's going to fail, it's going to fail. You know, your brain is always listening, like Dr. Amen said. Your brain is always listening, and indeed it is. It's listening to you create an environment. It's listening to you to say, to use those words, well, I quit, I give up, I'm not doing it. And sometimes those rules apply, I get it. But when you want something to work, the last thing you want to say is that I'm going to quit, or I'm not going to do the work. If you want success, you're going to do the work, period. I don't know one successful person that did not have to do some type of work along the way. I don't care if it was in gardening. I don't care if it's picking up sticks. I don't care if it's creating a beautiful ceremony. I don't care if it's getting an education, having a successful, happy marriage. I like to say, you want to be married and be happily married, just not married and existing. And there's things that you can do. So yes, have those conversations, practice self-awareness, try to see somebody else's perspective on what's going on and what it's like for them. They're not really saying your way is wrong. They're just saying, this is how I'm experiencing you. And you're saying, this is how I am experiencing you. And then you come together and try to come up with some ways that you can just communicate more openly, more freely, and marriage should be a safe space to do so. You know, I love that quote that says, me telling you how I feel shouldn't end in an argument. As long as we keep that level of respect and we are calm, and we're really practicing great listening, that matters to the success of your relationship. And there's other things too. Of course, there's other things, and we'll be talking about that more. Make sure you guys are following us on our socials. Outstanding Relationships on IG and Outstanding Personal Relationships on YouTube and on Facebook. Check out the other videos that we have on our YouTube channel, because there might be some things in there that'll answer some questions that you all might have for 1, 2, or the 3 of us. Once again, I hope you guys got some gems. I'm going to leave you with a little GLC. Once again, I'm Coach Fatimah. Going to leave you with some GLC. Make sure you're growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. I hope to see you all in the next one. I'll see you again. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
We are also the authors of the new ebook, The Polygamy Roadmap. 2 different roadmaps, one specifically for men and the other
for women.
Naturally. So no matter where somebody is in their journey, whether they're considering it and what's required, especially men I'm talking to, I share the 5 requisites on really what it takes to build a healthy, successful polygynous family unit. So with that being said, make sure if you're a man and if you're serious, not just curious, you take action and get it today.
And in the women's polygamy roadmap, we talk about the different feelings that women might go through with emotions of fear, challenge, betrayal, jealousy.
Yes, and we give you some good insight as well as tips, anecdotes, as well as some of our stories of struggle in the polygamy roadmap too for women. And you will find out really how to have a type of confidence in yourself after reading this. I'm truly, truly in the mindset that you would anyway.
Indeed. So do what you got to do. And that means go to polygamyroadmap.com, grab your copy. We look forward to you benefiting from it and joining us in our private community. With that being said, assalamu alaikum.
Peace.